Space Hub inside of the University of Miami. And I'm super excited because this is day 2. We are going at it. We have been here, guys, since 9 a.m., and we are still running till 5. I'm excited. I know my guest over here is excited. And guys, this is all about content. We're in the creator economy. So for my special guest today, I have my man who hosts and is a creator of the Black Fridays podcast, Denzel. What's up, brother?
What's going on? Doing well. How about you?
Doing well, man. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for coming on here today. First thing I want to ask you, since you're in the creation world and you have your podcast, what has been the biggest struggle in your journey so far to get to where you're at today?
Yeah, the biggest struggle for me so far has just been the organization or creating systems in terms of how do you actually produce your content, produce and edit your content. And it's a process. I have a weekly show where I interview different guests, so being able to coordinate not only who's going to be on there, who do I talk to, and then after that post production, when do I edit, how do I edit, getting clips, all those type of things. That's probably the biggest challenge that I have experienced in my process. But I think that because I enjoy it, I can endure it. Just being able to be creative in those aspects and who I talk to, the type of conversations we have, and the content that I put out there. So it's a challenge, but it's rewarding as well.
It's all about processes, right? If you don't have a process in place, that's where you start seeing the cracks, right? The cracks in your creation, the cracks in your business, and then that's where it starts getting unorganized. For you, what are some of the tools that now, because you're saying it's something, there was something you struggled with at the beginning, what are some tools, or maybe it could be assistance that you're getting from people that you have right now in your strategy to make this seamless, make it easy, and make it fun, give that experience without having as little to no cracks in your process and business?
Yeah, so first I have to give a shout out to my lovely wife, who is my executive producer for the show. So when I'm on location recording, she's able to actually point out certain things to me and make sure everything is functioning properly when we're video recording and from the audio standpoint too. And then secondly, been able to utilize a lot of programs that I have. One is AI, so Opus Clip is something I started using recently that's been super helpful.
How do you like that?
I love Opus Clip. It's super helpful if I don't use exactly what they provide to me, being able to spot certain things that I would like to call out or chop up in an interview. So that's been super dope. And then I edit in Adobe Premiere. And then there's different aspects like they have a multicam feature in the editing features that's been super helpful for me. And it's been a game changer for me as well. And it makes my editing process super easy and straightforward. So those are some of the tools and things that I have that make my life a lot better.
What's something which first of all, you mentioned your wife, that's doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
And then you got these AI tools. What is something that you would like to have that you have not found yet that you think it'll help you with your process right now?
I think that if I was able to, and I know it's tools out there, but the biggest hurdle that I'm trying to figure out right now is the YouTube aspect, and then just really being able to, if I had like an end-to-end process of creating a thumbnail and chopping up the videos or the sections and doing things like that, that would be super helpful to me right now, and something I wish that I had. And like I said, I know it's tools out there, I just haven't played around with them just yet.
Now, going back to your wife, and I'm saying this because I think this is when it comes to business creation, right? It can either go very great or it can go very bad. How have you been able to build a relationship with your wife where she understands this is the world you're playing in, business creation, content, and how she put herself involved in a way that works? Because right, some of these things don't work. So how do you guys make it work?
Yeah, I got super lucky in the sense of she is also she's a creative in her own right, and then it was interested in like media production ever since she was a young girl. And so now being able to have the opportunity to like do it in real time, test out some of the theories that she has, and play out some of those interests in terms of producing a live production. That's one of the aspects that's been able to help us in the journey of this content creation together. And so she gets a chance to explore. And then also communication is super huge, and really just identifying and laying out what the goals are, what things that I intend to do with the brand and with the podcast, and the guest and all of those things, and then being able to be intentional about that as well, and then just have that mutual understanding of, okay, you said you were going to do this, holding each other accountable, and okay, let's see that come into fruition. Let's go after it and let's get it, and making sure things make sense in terms of the overall scheme of what we're trying to accomplish here.
Love
So
that.
yeah,
Love that. And I think she's gonna love that too when she hears it.
for sure. Yeah.
So shout out. For you, what do you feel is your strengths? What do you feel is your weaknesses right now in the creator economy? And what are some of the things that you would like to be able to start doing right away that's gonna help you with those weaknesses?
I think my strength right now in the creator economy is being able to have some type of established system, because now I understand what my process needs to look like, and in order for me to be the most efficient that I can. Because as far as like editing processes go, I'm a team of one, but knowing it, being able to batch content and then understanding the rollout and the plan for that's been super helpful for me. So I think that I've been able to get strong in that aspect. A weakness that I have is exploring outside of my typical content that I do, because I do the interviews and things like that to spotlight different dope black businesses, creatives, and content creators. However, I know there's other things from a social media standpoint, and also maybe like a YouTube video standpoint, that I can branch into that would attract people more to those stories, so that those brands and businesses and people can get more exposure for the work that they do. So I think that that's a weakness that I currently have, but I'm trying to explore more into how can I do more evergreen content to bring people in and have them be able to zero in on the black businesses that can help them with whatever it is that they're looking for support with.
Totally, and that's awesome. And you're doing some really great stuff from the what I hear and what it sounds like. Being in the space that you're in, also participating in your community, putting a platform out there, giving people a voice to be able to share and talk business, entrepreneurship, themselves, and I think that's truly amazing with what you're doing, man. For you, you mentioned about the weaknesses and stuff. What are some of the solutions right now that you want to start quickly applying so that way you can start turning that around?
Being able to get quicker to action on the ideas that I have, and then not letting them linger for too long, because I can sit and think of ideas all day long. I mean, I think that's just human nature, especially if you're in any type of creative field or deem yourself a creative. But being able to go from ideas to action, I think is probably the hugest thing. And then also one thing that I learned recently was not being able to, or try to remove yourself as much from the result of the content as much as possible, because the algorithm is not your friend. And so if you always try to appease the algorithm, whatever platform that you're using, you will always be let down at some point in time. And I posted videos or spent a lot of time on certain pieces of content. I thought it was fire, put it on Instagram, and they showed it to nobody. And then there was some things I thought that might have been a dud, or things that I didn't think was as great piece of content, and then it blew up. So that's probably the two things that come to mind when you ask me that.
Love that. And for you, you and what you're doing, what would you like to see in the future of the creator economy? What is something that you don't like, and what is something that you really like?
What I don't like is the things that probably get the most things going viral, or that are just negative or in nature, and would love to see more positive content out there, which is why I decided to create my show and spread that positivity and bring people into a positive space and let them hear the stories of people who are doing great things in their community. So would love to be able to spread more of that, and hope that we can kind of not focus as much on a lot of the negativity and things out there. So that's the thing that I currently don't like. But as far as looking forward, just love being able to see how you can do so much with a handheld device, just strictly with your cell phone. I talk to other people who have ideas of doing podcasts, and I tell them, like, you can literally start a podcast for free from your phone, video and audio. So you don't need much, but just depend on what type of content you plan on having. Then, of course, you have to elevate your equipment, and just being able to have conversations with people about that, and then also advance my own equipment, which I've done over the years. I started on Instagram Live, and I was literally just two cell phones and people having a conversation, moved over to Zoom, then moved over to actual like audio equipment, and then multiple camera setups. So, it's a gradual process to that, but I love how simplified these things have become, and you don't need like a whole studio production setup. You can have a mobile setup and minimal devices.
Yeah, it's true, and that's why I would say start with what you have, because what you have is plenty. And as you keep growing, then of course you're gonna always find ways to elevate, do more, and also have different types and varieties of content. But there's always something so special when it comes to just picking up your phone, having that raw, authentic content, speaking to your audience, and letting them watch it. And sometimes that's the best performing content, right? And I think you find a place where you start growing and you start implementing components of higher quality produced content within the content that's already existing with your more raw phone shot content. When you kind of find that blend, it kind of you start seeing magic happen. Because
Exactly.
people get to see you they see you for who you are, they see you for the authenticity, but now they also see you as well as like, damn, they got some high quality stuff in here too. So that authority, trust, credibility builds up as well.
Exactly.
So, we've been talking about creator economy, strengths, weaknesses, social media, what you're doing with your podcast. Just because I'm interested, who are 5 people right now that you are thinking of or that you want to be able to bring onto your podcast that you haven't had on there yet?
Oh man, this is an amazing question. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, but it's mostly people that I look up to from a media standpoint.
Okay.
And so I'll start with Kev on Stage. I think he's an amazing, hilarious comedian, and then he also has built his own media empire. So shout out to Kev on Stage, and then also Issa Rae. Would love to be able to sit down and chop it up. Where I got a chance to meet her when I was in undergrad, but as a adult, quote unquote, would love to have a conversation with her. Also, David Shands of the Social Proof Podcast. I listen to a lot of his content. The guys from Earn Your Leisure would love to, another podcast that inspired my show, would love to be able to talk to Rashad and Troy, who host that podcast. And let's see, if I had to do one more, I just made
It's a
I did,
bonus.
yeah, bonus. I went over, or is this the last one? This is my 5th one.
I think you went one more.
Okay. All right. Well, bonus. Yeah, bonus. I did a LinkedIn post about him yesterday, Byron Allen, who is a huge media mogul. He started out as a comedian, and then he started to build his own media empire and bought the Weather Channel, which is a huge boss move, and has his own studios and production company and all that stuff. So we'd love to get some wisdom and some game from him.
I love that. So what is your strategy? What are you going to do to bring these 5 people on?
Oh man, that's. I guess I gotta shoot my shot. I gotta either send some emails, reach out to some assistants.
Well, haven't you shot the shot yet?
That's a great question. I have no idea. So now I gotta do it because it's on camera. So I gotta reach out in some way, shape, or form and see how I can get in front of these folks.
And then you're going to hit me up and say, look, 1 or 2 out of these 5 got back to me and I had them on the pod.
Exactly, and then you coming with me to do the interviews.
Ooh,
Yeah.
damn, I got reeled into this one. I love it. Where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, super cool. So you have your own setup over there. Is it in your house? Is it at a studio? Is it at where's your setup?
So I do record out of a studio in Detroit, in downtown, and then I also have a mobile setup. So
Okay,
I
cool.
have a light setup, and then I have I record off of iPhones and iPads, and then I have a pod track, which allows you to put in your microphones and record your audio. And yeah, so that's my mobile setup.
Very cool. What's the name of your studio?
The name of the studio is a co-working space. It's actually called Bamboo Detroit. And so they built a podcasting studio
Nice.
in there, the Lab Podcasting Room. And I've been recording out of there for a year and some change now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, and you're growing.
And growing, yeah.
So what is your vision that you see on the creator side, and then also as well as the building of the studio side?
Yeah, I would love to. My big vision is to be able to create a media entity that's able to help Black businesses, entrepreneurs who are trying to find their way in terms of spotlighting their businesses, marketing, finding the people that they need to talk to about their products and services, and just being able to enable them with those type of media services that they would need. So if they need media training, if they need just more spotlight, if they need the creative, being able to have like a overarching entity in order to help support them do that. That's the big picture.
Love that. Denzel, it's been a pleasure. I've had a great time here speaking with you, learning about you, seeing what you're doing, building your community. not just with yourself, for yourself, but also with your wife. And I think that teamwork aspect is so important, especially when you have a partner who supports you and you support her. So I just want to congratulate you on that.
Appreciate it.
As we start wrapping it up, I always like to do a little quick burner round. But before we do that, quickly plug in, throw all your information out there, get people to connect with you. Where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can follow the podcast at Black Fridays Podcast on Instagram. You can follow my personal page at Denzel Turner, Denzell Turner on Instagram. And then also on all major streaming platforms, Black Fridays with the S Podcast. And then YouTube as well. You can find me on there.
Awesome. You ready for the hot seat?
Let's do it.
Burner rounds to go. We're going to hit these. All right, question number 1. For you, what is the craziest and wildest experience you've had so far being a creator?
Oh, man. Nothing is like recording a whole podcast episode and realizing that one of your cameras went out or that you don't have all the audio that you thought you had. So that's probably, one of the wildest situations that I've had thus far.
And let me tell you, it probably just didn't happen once.
No, it didn't. Yeah, no, it happened. You live and you learn. You live and you learn.
I love that. All right, next question. For you, who has been so far your favorite guest on your show?
That's a tough one because I thoroughly enjoy every conversation that I have, and it's not even a cop out. Like I really.
Or let's do this. Who's the one that's had the most impact personally for you in your business, your life, based on the conversation you had?
That's great. I like how you frame that. I would probably say the most impactful one that I feel like I've had to date is actually somebody that I've known since I was young and in college, because I went to college with their son, but I didn't know them until I got older and got a chance to hear their story on the podcast. And it was a lady named Gail Perry Mason, who is just a phenomenal financial expert in and around the city of Detroit. Does some amazing kids working with youth and teaching them about financial literacy and all those things. So yeah, shout out to Gail and the amazing work that she's doing. So I think that conversation opened my eyes to just like the breadth of the things that she's been doing for so long, like for decades.
Love it. And last and final question. As a creator, what is your favorite tool or prop or anything that you like to use that's your go-to?
My favorite tool or my favorite prop? I don't want to say my iPhone because that's I feel like that's a given. I would probably say my PodTrack recorder, because with that thing I can pre-program sounds if I wanted to. Like I can do some of the live edits of the audio right there if I wanted to, which I actually need to go in and program those things. But it's so handy. The recording sounds amazing, and I barely have to do anything in post-production once I get the audio back. So I think that's probably been my favorite piece of tech or favorite thing my go-to thing when I'm recording.
Awesome. Love it. Denzel, it's been a pleasure, brother. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you being here in the Nucleus Hub inside of the University of Miami. Guys, please go show him some love. Go support. Who knows? You might be lucky and you might be on his podcast one day.
Pull up.
There you go. He said it. Now, it is in Detroit. For all our locals, you got to head over to Detroit. Now, if you're in Detroit, go knock on his door. But appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, show some love, because the more love you show us, the more love we can keep showing back. Till next time, on the Nucleus Hub inside of the University of Miami.